Hello guys, we have a couple of very nice children's books for you. We have Fredrick by Lionni, Pantheon Press, and we also have The Tiny Patients by Judy Pederson. That's, we'll see in a minute or so. We already did one of these Lionni books, Tilly on the Wall. If you can recall, that was about a week or so ago. This one is called Fredrick by Pantheon Press. Fredrick. Lionni, Pantheon. All along the meadow where the cows grazed and the horses ran, there was an old stone wall. In that wall, not far from the barn and the granary, a chatty family of field mice had their home. But the farmers had moved away, the barn was abandoned, and the granary stood empty. And since winter was not far off, the little mice began to gather corn and nuts and wheat and straw. They all worked day and night, all except Fredrick. Here's Fredrick. Fredrick, why don't you work, they asked. I do work, said Fredrick. I gather sun rays for the cold winter days. And when they saw Fredrick sitting there, staring at the meadow, they said, And now, Fredrick, what are you doing now? I gather colors, answered Fredrick simply, for winter is gray. And once Fredrick seemed half asleep. Are you dreaming, Fredrick? They asked reproachfully, but Fredrick said, Oh no, I am gathering words, for the winter days are long and many, and will run out of things to say. The winter days came, and when the first snow fell, the 5 little field mice took to their hideout in the stones. In the beginning, there was lots to eat, and the mice told stories of foolish foxes and silly cats. They were a happy family. But little by little, they had nibbled up most of the nuts and berries. The straw was gone, and the corn was only a memory. It was cold in the wall, and no one felt like chatting. Then they remembered what Fredrick had said about sun rays and colors and words. What about your supplies, Fredrick? They asked. Close your eyes, said Fredrick, as he climbed on a big stone. Now I send you the rays of the sun. Do you feel how's their golden glow? And as Fredrick spoke of the sun, the 4 little mice began to feel warmer. And as Fredrick spoke of the sun, the 4 little mice began to feel warmer. Was it Fredrick's voice? Was it magic? And how about the colors, Fredrick? They asked anxiously. Close your eyes again, Fredrick said. And when he told them of the blue periwinkles, the red poppies and the yellow wheat, and the green leaves of the berry bush, they saw the colors as clearly as if they had painted. They saw the colors as clearly as if they had been painted in their minds. And the words, Fredrick? Fredrick cleared his throat, waited a moment, and then, as if from a stage, he said, Who scatters snowflakes? Who melts the ice? Who spoils the weather? Who makes it nice? Who grows the 4-leaf clovebirds in June? Who dims the daylight? Who lights the moon? 4 little mice, 4 little field mice who live in the sky. 4 little 4 little field mice like you and I. One is the spring mouse who turns on the showers. Then comes the summer, who paints in the flowers. The fall mouse is next, with walnuts and wheat. And winter is last, with little cold feet. Aren't we lucky the seasons are 4? Think of a year, with 1 less or 1 more. When Fredrick had finished, they all applauded. But Fredrick, they said, you are a poet. Fredrick blushed, took a bow, and said shyly, I know it. Now we have another little book here. This is called The Tiny Patient by Judy Pederson, The Tiny Patient. A whispering of leaves, a low-pitched cheep. A child follows the sounds through the dewy grass. Under the bushes lies a wounded bird, its body quivering, a wing held stiffly at its side. Gently, the child carries the bird into her grandmother's sunny kitchen. With luminous drawings and simple text, Judy Pederson perfectly evokes a mood of love and tenderness in the story of a little girl and her grandmother caring for a tiny patient. The Tiny Patient, Judy Pederson, Alfred A. Knopf, New York. One day, my grandmother and I heard some whispering leaves and a low-pitched cheep. Under the eaves, behind a bush, we found a little chirping sparrow. She was brown and gray and had a broken wing. Through the dewy grass, we inched our way closer and closer to her soft, quivering body. She was very frightened and looked to be in pain as she held that wing stiffly at her side. My grandmother didn't know anything about talking. My grandmother didn't know anything about taking care of wild, chirping sparrows. But she said, the poor thing must be hungry, and suggested a bun and some water. We covered her carefully with my grandmother's handkerchief and brought her into our warm, safe kitchen. Nibble, 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 the bun became breadcrumbs. Dribble, 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 the water became a cool drink. In the warmth of our kitchen, a tiny heart throbbed. Tip-tap, tip-tap, tip-tap. Outside our window, the morning birds kept watch. Let's make a nest for her. My grandmother agreed. So we took some white cotton and made a bird-size sickbed. And we found her a sunny spot by the window so she could look out and feel close to her friends and the trees. And every day we fed her soft buns and water until her wing had mended and she was strong again. Then one summer day, she was well enough to fly. So, up, up, up she went. Goodbye. Judy Pederson's work can be seen on many book jackets and in magazines. She was born in Brooklyn, grew up in Rhinebeck, New York, and graduated from the School of Visual Arts, where she now teaches painting. She lives in New York City and Sharon, Connecticut, with her husband, Brad Holland, who is also a painter. The Tiny Patient is her first picture book. This was from 1989. So we have there two wonderful children's books, The Tiny Patient, Judy Pederson, and Fredrick, Lionni. Thanks for coming, watching for a while, and we hope to see you again. Thanks a lot. Take care.